I could have easily, in the street of Brooklyn, being part of this world where I could never see the light. The only light I would know, prostitution, being probably in prison. So that's why I do what I do. The one who never had anybody to speak on their behalf. The one without a voice. The one that looks like me. The one that come to this country, they were forced by traffickers to come to a country where they don't know anyone. They are the least of these. The one without a home. The one without mothers, fathers to care for them. They are the least of these. They are the one that we need to reach out for.
Hello, sweet friends. Welcome back to Unbroken Chain. I'm Maura James, and this week we are talking to Mia Pean. She is the executive director of My Sister's Place, which is an incredible organization that she started to rescue and support victims of sex trafficking. She's opened 5 homes and schools internationally, including 2 in Haiti, which is where she was born. And I met her in Atlanta, where she has plans currently to open a physical space as well to shelter and rehabilitate women and children who are coming out of sex trafficking. That is a huge vision and mission. Atlanta has about a $290 million human trafficking economy, and it's been in and out of the news, but the effort that it's taking Mia as a one-woman operation to make this manifest is enormous. She really makes an appeal for support and contribution, and I definitely welcome you to listen to her life experience and to join the cause if you feel called to. Human trafficking, the majority of which is sex trafficking, is the largest growing industry worldwide. It's about $100 billion industry right now. It's enormous. And the vast majority affects women and children, although, of course, boys, young men are part of that statistic too. Altogether, there's an estimated 25 million people who are trapped currently in forced labor through trafficking. That's according to the International Labor Organization. The way that Mia talks about the people that are the most vulnerable in our world, those who are the most vulnerable to trafficking, who don't have families and support and love most fundamentally, I think puts into perspective very quickly how much we need each other. Yes, everyone needs physical assets, a safe place to sleep at night, food to eat, yes. And also, it's clear that our safety and strength lies just as equally in the people that hold us, that need us, that want us to thrive, and that hold our place in the community. And I know it's really hard to take in the magnitude of suffering in the world, because once you open that door, the heartbreak is infinite. And so I think it's easy for us to tell stories of judgment to ourselves in order to put some kind of filter on that pain. And to think that the people that we walk by on the street, maybe somehow deserve their condition because of their choices. But really and truly, who deserves to be forgotten? And is that the kind of society that we want to live in, where you can transgress in some way to the point that you could be kicked out and turned into a kind of walking ghost? And this conversation made me really emotional because Mia talks about her relationship to organized religion and how she doesn't do church anymore and doesn't believe that should have a place in offering people recovery. And yet she is walking the path that Jesus talked about. If Christ is a consciousness, she is embodying that spirit with her life, with her choices from moment to moment, which is really all that any of us have. That's how the world changes, is in those moment to moment decisions that become action. And because Mia knows that God doesn't lie outside of her, she is a living example of the power that we all have to act from that place, to be the God in every moment and in every action. And because of that, she has not allowed anyone that she encounters to lose their humanity. She recognizes it and honors it and holds it in everyone that she meets. And that is deeply humbling for me to encounter. It's deeply inspiring because it's on offer for all of us. And it becomes very real action and very real transformative support in the life of someone that really and truly has no other options and has no place in society as it stands. I invite you into this conversation with an open heart. I see you. I love you. We can do better. We can be part of the better. And here's Mia showing us how that happens.
My sister's place is a place where when you don't have a home, you can go there and you feel at home. It's a nonprofit organization. We rescue women that been trafficked, human trafficked, sexually assaulted, women that's been trafficked, but they have problem with substance abuse. Because one of the things with trafficking, before they break you down, they have to pump a lot of drugs in you. So these women get addicted to drugs, a lot of drugs, any kind of drugs. And I've been doing this for the past 15 years by myself. I've worked with someone with a great heart. We traveled all over the world. And when I say all over the world, we've been to Geneva. I lived in Geneva for 2 years, working with Somalian refugees who have been sexually assaulted or who were trafficked by migrant and going to Europe. I've worked in Dakar. Also Nigeria. Nigeria, there's a city called Benin City, which is a hotbed to traffic African women to Dubai. Actually, they've been coerced by other women to go into life of trafficking. So they were trafficked from Nigeria to Dubai, Dubai to Amsterdam, and Amsterdam, as you everyone know, and as you know, is the hotbed for everything is legal. Prostitution is legal there. So we have 5 schools. My sister's place have 5 schools. We have 2 in Nigeria, 1 in the north, which is with the Yoruba people. We have 2 schools in Haiti. We have 1 in Jamaica. All of them, they were built by Ambassador Andrew Young, with funding from him and also with some people that has relationship with him, business relationship, and they have provided funding to build the schools. And one of the things that I love about the school that we have in Haiti, which is a poor country where people are very marginalized, we have something called community garden, where the women gather together. They bring every seed or everything that they have. They give us a piece of land and we build. The community get together and plant. So once everything come to harvest, what we do, we get it together and we sell it at the market. Whatever's left, they goes to the home and then some of it goes to the orphanage for the kids that we rescue. Our youngest rescue, when we rescued her, she was 5 years old. She was sold into slavery into Dominican Republic. Now she's 9 years old. And the women, what we do, we provide classes on economic empowerment, business skills, life training skills. We help them get their GED. So now we're here in Atlanta working with that community, especially with college young kids that's been sexually assaulted on campus. But they don't have anybody to go to because they don't have that support, that family support. Some of them, they're coming from the Caribbean, they're coming from West Africa, they're coming from Europe. So they don't have anybody. They don't have that space where they can go home and mom and dad or auntie and uncle can help them. They're left by themselves, so they get exploited by their boyfriend.
So what do those kind of situations look like? What are you seeing that you're rescuing women from?
When you rescue them, they don't have anything. They only have the clothes on their back. They're running away from a pimp. They're running away from a madam. Right now, we have more women. We have what we have. We have men that they had an old prostitute. So what they did, they turned that old prostitute into the one that recruit new girls. So when you rescue these young women, they don't have anything. Their self-esteem is gone. They don't know who they are. They don't have no hope. They don't care about anything. They just like, he's helping me. He's helping me get food. And most of these girls, some of them were molested by family members, or they were raped by somebody that they knew in their neighborhood. So most of these girls, they're just lost. So when you rescue these girls, you really need to have the passion, to have that kind of passion and says, okay, I want to help you get to a better life. You need to have that oomph where you said, I'm going to help you get there. So you find girls that very empty.
Are you literally meeting these girls on the street?
I have a hotline. Our sister's place is listed with the national hotline. When you go there, they're going to say, oh, we need somebody that speaks French. We need somebody that speaks Creole. So we are there to rescue, even if they don't speak French or Creole, we have other people that speak English who are seasoned counselors. So we send them to rescue those girls. So sometimes we rescue them from the police station, the hospitals, just the streets. Actually, we have 3 survivors. They're doing well. Now, it's how we keep them in that space. That's another question. Because sometimes they go through a season called relapsing. Relapsing is when they don't have that support again from me. They don't have a place, either that they're on food stamps or public assistance, and it's not enough. And they cannot get a job. Because remember, these girls, sometimes they were stolen from their home from 11, or they're runaways. They're from foster homes. And pimps or recruiters, sometimes they look for girls nobody that's going to look for. Somebody that you're not going to miss. A homeless person. One of the rescue we had 6 months ago, she's a homeless college student living in a car. Her car got repossessed. So she was recruited. She was recruited. From the recruitment, the pimp gave her a car, the pimp gave her a place to sleep, food and clothes. But one thing she needed to do is to have sex with 6 or 7 men a day. And she has to bring that $5,000 to $6,000 home every night. Or she get beat up, she get burned, sometimes she get raped, and then she would be left alone in the street corner. Human trafficking is in every corner. Sometimes you don't even know that the person that you're sitting across, she's being trafficked. Sometimes at the airport, you see a young girl with an older man. These are your trafficking. I think everybody needs to know about human trafficking. Some people think it's a myth. Some people say, it's not in my neighborhood. Human trafficking touch the rich, the poor, middle class neighborhood. Human trafficking touch every economy. It touch everyone. What the recruiter is looking for, they're looking for somebody who they lost their self-esteem, somebody that living in a single mother's home, one parenting home, somebody that needs that love, that attention, because that kind of person can be recruited easily. When you are in search for love, you're in search to be wanted, to belong. When you want to belong somewhere, if they know your weak spot, they'll make sure that you get recruited. And the first time it's going to be like a honeymoon phase. They're going to love you. They're going to give you everything that you want. Second, third week, you better start thinking about working because they have something else for you in mind. The honeymoon is over. Just like domestic violence, when your partner abuses you and then he turns around and says, I'm sorry. And that's the honeymoon phase. He brings you flower. And then the next time again, he beats you more. That's how it is, almost like human trafficking. So my sister's place is a place where we want to provide a home for young women. Unfortunately, right now, we don't have no fundings. We're looking desperately to raise some money to hire a grant writer. We're looking desperately to raise some funding because we find a piece of land. Because we are 501c3, we can get that piece of land at $1 a year, but we need $20,000 because the person that used to own that property They have a tax lien on that piece of property. So the need is great. The need is there. It's just that there are things that we need and we don't have. But I'm going to keep on pushing. Last week, when I saw Tiger Woods winning, I think everybody pushed him aside because he got a DUI and he had some issues. 2008. I'm not a person, I do not watch golf. I don't understand golf. I do not care for golf. But just that, never give up, never fold. The game will come for you. It'll come for you to friends, to family member, to sisters, to four alike. It will come for you, but never fold. Never give up, never give in. You're gonna make it. And that's why I always tell my girls, never give up, never fold. Joy comes in the morning. and every time I get discouraged from this journey, every time I get discouraged, and then the universe said, here I am for you. I am plotting to make sure that you are successful. When I got that email from you, because I was in the brink, the slippery slope, and I said to my husband, I'm not doing this anymore. He said, but 2 months later, you're going to say, babe, I want to do it. So Thursday afternoon, I call a friend of mine. She's in New York as well. She said, you know, Mia, we can get this. We have people that's interested in doing social impact. I said, no, they're not going to give me the money. She said, yes, they will. And someone that was listening to WAOK, a radio show I did on Northside Avenue 2 weeks ago, she said, Miss Mia, how can I help you? I was crying on the phone. I was so emotional. I said, listen, I really gotta give you this testimony. I just told my friend 35 minutes ago, I'm not doing this. I'm gonna find me a job with the corporate world and get my money and there you are telling me, how can I help you? So what I'm saying to you, Tiger Woods, that phone calls and that email, all of it telling me that what I'm doing, it's worth it. Keep pushing, keep moving forward. It doesn't matter how I sound. It doesn't matter if I'm not looking the part. There's someone out there that's gonna come and help me push this movement along. Help me bridge the gap in the immigrant community that says, okay, we need this. We need this in the greater Atlanta. We need to make sure that the least of these God's children have somebody that look outside for them. Outside this big arena called world, where everybody's so busy. Each and everyone are so busy. Some of us are living from paycheck to paycheck. Some of us don't even have a home. We're living with friends, or we're living at someone's house, or we don't even know where we belong in this world because we're trying to navigate and trying to find ourselves. And then somehow somebody just came in and plugged us in. And this spark just poof. You know this reality, and then you're able to say, wow, I was able to help her push this movement forward. Help immigrant women, or help just women. What about the boys? What about the boys? No one, I have not heard anyone talk about boys who's being trafficked. I have not heard this. And my husband always said, what about the boys? If you, let's say that you want to open a shelter for women, what about young men? What about young men who's trying to navigate, who's trying to find themselves, who doesn't know, who doesn't have a father in the home, someone that they can look up to? What about the boys? Without self-esteem, what about the boys who doesn't know if they're here or there? The LGBTQ community, who's talking on behalf of them? We need to shift the conversation. And I know there's someone out there, Maura. I can tell you, last week I was in a place where I said, you know, that's enough. 15 years, everybody's getting funding. Something you're not doing. Yeah, it's like sometimes you have to question yourself. Is it something that I'm not doing? Because I've been all over the world. My eyes, I've seen it. So I have the heart. I have the passion. It's just that it's to find my right champion. That's the word. My champion. When I met Ambassador Andrew Young in 2004, he always talked about the least of these. I never understood. And I went to a church. I don't do the church. I really like. So he was talking about the least of these. So I went to church with a friend of mine, and they were talking about the least of these. The one who never had anybody to speak on their behalf. The one without a voice. The one that looks like me. The one that come to this country, they were forced by trafficker to come to a country where they don't know anyone. They are the least of these. The one without a home. The one without mothers, fathers to care for them. They are the least of these. They are the one that we need to reach out for. Because you see, human trafficking, what it does to your community, it brings prostitution, it brings drugs. They stole their innocence. We have about 30,000 black young women 2 months ago that was stolen. They've been missing. I call them stolen. They've been missing. Nobody's talking about them.
That's here in the U.S.?
Yes, that's here in the U.S.
In the last year?
In the last 2 months.
Oh my gosh.
And I don't think anybody's looking for them. You know, as it should be in the media. These are sisters, somebody's sisters. These are somebody's daughters, cousin, friends. And you know, in the meantime, the sex trafficking industry is making a lot of money.
Where is that money being made? Who's profiting?
Oh, big conglomerate. If this was a Fortune 500 company, it would be on the first top 5. Human trafficking is big. I think that sometimes people said, oh, it's not that big. It's not that big here in Atlanta. But it's right under your eyes. You just need to know how to see it. When you see it, you say something. You call the cops. Don't be a hero. I'm not telling anybody to be a hero. But call the cops. Just like that hostess, I guess it was either with American Airlines or Delta here in Atlanta. And she saw the young woman and she knew something was wrong because she was not making eye contact and she was branded. So, yeah.
Is there a system that can catch those women? Because it seems like so many people rely on you individually because there's not a greater system that really catches them.
I remember 2010, right after the earthquake in Haiti. And I said, you know, right after big disasters, that's when because there's chaos everywhere. So people are being transported any kind of way. And, you know, the borders are open because there's a humanitarian issues. Disasters relief, everybody's here. Everybody's in the place where there's a disaster. So more traffickers are there to pick up their prey. So we rescued about 2,500 young women from 2010 to 2011, to 2012, I'm sorry. 2,500 women, young women between the age of 13, 16.
This is in Haiti.
That was in Haiti, but they were trafficked from Dominican Republic. We went there to rescue them, and they sent them to Mexico. So because I was working with a church in San Francisco, they told me that we have some women in Tijuana, and their traffickers is trying to cross the border with them. So we rescue some, so we would need you to come and tell us how you can help. So this is how I have my data. Because working with the church, you do have some Catholic churches that rescue a lot. Working with the Jesuits and then also World Church Services, they rescue a lot of refugees. They rescue a lot of young women who has been trafficked either for labor or either for sex trafficking. Yeah.
So then what do they need to really make it? Because you mentioned drug addiction at the beginning, which is it's so tied to the self-worth that you have to heal the whole thing.
In the beginning, when we rescue, I have a group, we do street outreach. We bring them some feminine product. If they need something, sometimes we would go to the clubs and then pass out things to these young women. Especially on, some clubs here in Atlanta. We would go there and pass out things. And if they need to talk, we give them our cards. Call me. And this is most likely somebody's going to call you and says, I want to get out. I'm tired. I don't want to do this anymore. So when we reached out to them to break the drug addiction, we have a psychotherapist that work with them. We have a medical assessment team to find out what kind of drug they've been taking. From there, they spend 30 to 45 days in a safe house where they don't have contact with the outside world.
Wow.
They can watch TV. They're in a safe house. They have food provided for. They've been seen by doctors. They've been seen by a nurse. Now they've been seen by a therapist. We have group every night. We also have meditation. Some people believe in God. Some don't. And I'm the first person that I will tell anybody, stop pushing God on these women.
Thank you.
Yeah. Stop pushing God on these women. I know he's there. Everybody knows that God is there. But it's going to take a minute when I am where I am for you to tell me, if I do not accept Jesus or if I do not accept somebody, you're not going to help me. This is not part of the deal. When we rescue these women, we rescue the women for them. We rescue them so they can be whole, so they can be better. They will get better for their community. They will get better for their children, because most of these women, they got pregnant by their pimps. 2 or 3 of my survivors have children from their pimps. So when I said stop pushing God on them, give them space. Because if I have a problem and you keep pushing, you push school, you push this, you push that. I always tell people, give me a minute. When I'm upset, just give me a minute. Do not, wake up the bear. Because when Mama Bear is upset, Mama Bear is upset. So just give them a minute. Just put yourself, what I do, I put myself in their shoes. I haven't been in church for 17 years. People said, how do you do that? I said, I talk to nature. I talk to God. Wherever he is, I'm there because I am God. Inside of me, when I am taking care of my neighbors, when I do what's right, that's the God in me. Sunday, people were calling me, Happy Resurrection. I said, I don't do Easter. I said, tell me happy love. Because where there's love, there's peace. Where there's peace, everything else come around. Because I just feel that sometimes we need to stop pushing our ideology on others, especially weak women. When somebody's at their weakest point, what you need to tell them that I love you. This too shall pass. It will pass. I'm going to help you to allow it to pass. Because I know what I went through as a child. When I first moved here, I was 12 years old. Life was good. Because coming from one country to the next, I was going to school. Children was calling me Frenchie. It was okay. I attended a private school. Life was good, but I had a mean stepmother. Oh my goodness, I had a mean stepmother. She told me, you'll never amount to be anything in this life. And my sister and I, we suffered. We endured physical assault, emotional assault. It's not emotional abuse. When somebody play with your emotion, it's an assault. When somebody play with your psyche, it's an assault to your person. And we suffered. She would call me a whore. I was 13 years old when she called me a whore. But I had a mouth. I said, yeah, I'm good in bed. That's why they want me. You're not good in bed. But it was just me trying to be, I'm not going to take this.
Defend yourself, yeah.
And that was the way for me to defend myself. And people would say, and I think this is why I do what I do. People would say, oh, she's so rude. She's rude. She's loud. That's why her stepmother is so mean to her. The community was there. They never rescued me and my sister. My sister was abused sexually. I was the protector, and she was the protectee. And this is why I always have my guards up. I see my stepmothers in some other people's face. And she used to call me tar baby. She said, you never amount to be anything. You're going to end up in welfare. You'll never be anybody. But you see, when the universe is plotting on your behalf, and your roots is so deep where your ancestor says, I'm going to make sure you become something. I went on to get a degree in sociology, Quincy College, in Quincy, Mass. I went to BU, got my criminology degree. And then I went to Nova, studied law. I'm not licensed, but I studied law. That's called success. That was my revenge. My sister's a registered nurse. She's a therapist, substance abuse therapist. Wow. She has her master's. So the stone that the builder rejected became the cornerstone. My stepmother, who still now lives in New York City, she's still alive. And sometimes I said, God has a sense of humor. And this is why sometimes I said, and she's such a spiritual person. She would have the Holy Spirit in 2 minutes. I don't know what kind of spirit, because there's different spirit. This is why when people said, oh, let's pray with you, I said, I don't pray with people because there's different spirit in this world. I don't want you to pray for the spirit that I do not want.
Yeah.
Yeah. So, she's a spiritual person. She would tell me that I need Jesus. I said, no, I need something to just whoop, you know what? So I see myself with these women. Actually, there were some people from church and they knew my dad. They said, we have to help these girls. So when we started living in an abandoned building, I never forget this address, Watland Road and Rogers Avenue. Yeah.
I know
At the
over there.
corner. There's a building at the corner of Watland Road and Rogers Avenue. When we moved there with a distant cousin, she used to work for the UN. And then right after that, something happened with the building and they said everybody had to abandon the building. So my sister and I, we used to snuck in that building where they cut off all the electricity. So we stuck at night from the escape something.
Oh, the fire escape.
The fire escape. We leave our window and then we crawl back in. It was cold. We spent a year.
Just the two of you?
Just the two of us. And can I tell you something? Thinking about it, that's balls. We had balls. Because Brooklyn, New York City, and one day a friend of mine, she said, where you guys going? She said, but there's no one that lives here. I said, yeah, we've been living here for 7 months. So her mom came, she got us, and I had an uncle. They called my uncle. He came and rescued us. He says, how can you do that? I said, I don't think anybody wanted us. So I say this to say that pimp traffickers were looking for girls just like me when I was 15 and 16 years old. That's who they were looking for.
Did you see that road? Did you see that possibility in your own life?
I never. I always wanted to be a solid gold dancer. So I always wanted to meet Marilyn somebody. She was the hostess for Solid Gold. Solid Gold used to come like in the 80s and, and I always watched. I said, wow, I can't wait to be one of them. Or probably dance with Lou Rawls because they had a disco fever. I always wanted to be a dancer. Always, I said, I can't wait to go to Broadway and be a solid gold dancer. And so I never saw myself there. And I always wanted to be an attorney to fight for human rights because I felt that women didn't have a voice. Women couldn't say anything. Women was not part of the boardroom. When I was growing up, I see more men being chairperson, never a woman. And it's while after the Clinton, then I started seeing a shift. and seeing Hillary Clinton, listening to, her road, seeing other women, listening to other women, finding out about other women, and then moving to Atlanta. And I saw how there was an endless opportunity. But when I was young, no, I never thought that I would be part of that life, because I always wanted to be a person that be part of foreign affairs, be part of making a shift for other women, for other young girls, for the immigrant young girls that their voice was silenced. They were pushed aside. Because I felt that I was pushed aside. My voice was silent for a minute by my stepmother, the wicked of Brooklyn, the wicked witch of Brooklyn. My voice was silenced by her for a moment, because she used to say, "Oh, you look just like a mosquito. You so black." I said, "But I am so beautiful. I am a Nubian princess." And that would upset her, that I had this voice. I always had this inner voice that telling me that I am more than others are making me sound that I'm not. I am worth it. I am someone. I am somebody's daughter, even though she died. I am somebody's sister. My grandmother loves me, and she's from Cuba, and we had that feistiness in our blood, and being from Haiti, 1804, and from African ancestry. All of that was plotting for me. They were rooting for me. When you go into a marathon and you have people on the side saying, "Whoa," and then they're rooting for you. So I always felt that I had that.
Wow.
But at the same time, I was at risk. I was at risk because there were things that I never had. I never had the love of my dad, never had the love of my mom sitting on her lap. I never had someone to say, "You matter." Because girls like me, sometimes we have a tendency to look for love somewhere else. And this is where it becomes the slippery slope, what I was telling you, where you can easily fall down and then never find your way out. Because when you are looking for love, you find a man that tell you they love you at 16. They're going to give you everything that you desire. They even want to make you that dancer of solid gold. And you never made it through. Because there's a lot of story where girls wants to be models.
Yeah.
So I could have easily, in the street of Brooklyn, being part of this world where I could never see the light. The only light I would know, prostitution, being probably in prison, probably having several children by different men that I don't even know their names. So that's why I do what I do. It's not easy. There are days that I just want to leave me alone. Leave me with Chris Bodie. I love Chris Bodie. Leave me with Norman Brown. I love jazz. So leave me with them so I can escape from a world. So this is why I always tell other women that wants to get involved. Before you get involved in this road, in this journey to rescue young children, to rescue young women, to rescue young men, you need to have compassion for you. You need to know about self-care. Because life has a tendency to pull you from side to side. And if you are not grounded, and if you don't have a right to die like my husband, oh, he's so gorgeous. Dr. Pierre, he's my ride or die. He's always there. Babe, you can do it. Babe, you know you're doing something wonderful, so keep pushing. So you have to have compassion for you. You have to have compassion for yourself when you don't even know how you're going to put gasoline in your car and you have to go rescue a victim. You have to have compassion for you when you don't even understand, how am I going to open this shelter? How am I going to find a grant writer? How am I going to do this? How am I going to do that? Okay, if I open the shelter, why am I going to get bed? But thank God, I am a 501c3. I can easily one day and find me a billionaire that says, okay, come on, let's do this. That's what I'm looking for.
So if you're that billionaire, call Mia.
So, yeah, there's good people out there.
What was your first, how did you end up doing the work that you're doing specifically? Because you had a long career in politics.
Yes.
So what was your entree into working with sex traffic victims specifically?
I was traveling to Dakar. I was traveling to Nigeria. Then we went to Dakar while I was working with Ambassador Young. So we had a summit of world leaders, and everybody was there. Everybody was there. I saw my crush, Anderson Cooper. I met him. I was so happy. I told him I was going to marry him. But yeah, I was there. And then while we were at the hotel, we saw two young women trying to escape from the windows. So they jumped. And I was with a group of friends, and we went. You know, because whenever you see a young woman in trouble, you try to help them. So I asked her, and, you know, what's wrong? She couldn't. I said, do you speak French? She said, yeah. So she was telling me she was trying to escape. Her pimp sold her to a guy, and the guy was about to transport her to Dubai. So she did escape. So, and I started finding out about human trafficking. I said, you know, I've been doing a lot of volunteer work with domestic violence. When I was in Boston, Miami-Dade, I even worked for the courthouse. I was on the task force for domestic violence. So I said, it's not so different. It's just that you are forced, coerced, manipulated against your will to have sex with somebody that you don't want to. So I started finding out that Nigeria, there's a little place called Benin City, not the French Benin, but there's a city called Benin in Nigeria. It's a hotbed where women come into your town. They promise you jobs that you're going to go either to Dubai, to Italy. That's one of the places that they send the women to. And they're going to give you jobs, great jobs. And then, in fact, it's prostitution. So we helped her. We were with a doctor. So she got assessed. And then I said, you know what? There's a documentary that ABC had out. How to Buy a Child in 10 Hours. It's from ABC News, so you can check it out. And then in 10 hours from New York City to Haiti. I'm like, really? But I saw modern day slavery in Haiti. I've never knew that the same modern day that when they took the kids at night, they use them for the brothel.
Who is they?
Let's say that I give you my child because I don't have enough money to care for my child. I give you my youngest one. She's probably 5 years old. She'll come to your house from 4 o'clock in the morning to sundown. She wash, she cook. I'm talking about 5, 6-year-old. I said, but I've seen it. I didn't think that they were selling the people that the child would stay with would be the one they sent again to, you know, to have sex with other guys. So we started doing some investigation. 2004, there was a big hurricane that destroyed one of the biggest population in Haiti. So Ambassador Young told me that, what is it that you want me to do? I said, I want us to build schools because I know that if I didn't have an education, I wouldn't be so in your face. Education is the key to open every door for any young women or any young boys. So I said, we need to plant a school there. And he says, what about the women, the older women? I said, yeah, let's have a community center where they can, you know, learn how to read and write at night. And then in the morning, we have a school. So we had a big donation. And then he built the school. He says, okay, this is going to be your project. This is going to be a pilot project. It was tough at the beginning because all I was doing is to go and business infrastructure. That's what I was doing. Go and lobby for government so we can put infrastructure, businesses. So nonprofit was never something. I did it because I have the passion to help. But the real money is from the corporate world where you can go after United States government and they give you big funding for an African government. This is where your project is and you're going to make so much money. So I started this project. We built a school and then I started working with UNICEF. And UNICEF tell me that they have 300,000 children that's being sold from Haiti to the United States. I'm like, wow. They said sometime they said that they're going to adopt these children, but they take their organs, they traffic their organs. They traffic them when they come here because nobody's going to miss them. Who's going to miss them? These are orphans without a home. So
I just can't wrap my mind around people that think it's okay to use other people this way.
like I said to my husband, nothing surprised me anymore. Nothing surprised me anymore. I had an interview with NPR. He says, how can you just fight with men? Because I fought with a guy, a white man that went to Haiti, and he had 7 boys in the back of his truck. I said, where are you going with the boys? He says, I'm going to give them food. I said, no, you're not. You're not. And I followed him. And he started swinging at me. I said, I'm going to follow you. And I need to know what you're doing with my boys. He said, they're not your boys. I said, they are mine. Because as long that I am alive, I can speak for them. And every time that I rescue, my 15-year-old might come back. If I had someone that fought so hard for me, life wouldn't be so hard. Because I went to a road with a younger sister. She's more innocent than I am because I'll tell you what I think about you in a minute. She won't. She's very quiet. 15, 16-year-old who doesn't have parents, who doesn't have any supervision at the home, who doesn't have the love in their home. They are at risk to become prostitutes, drug users, abused, sexually abused.
Did you follow him? Did you get the boys back?
I follow him. And 2 days later, it was a big international crisis where there was a group of missionaries from Idaho. Yeah, they were trafficking young Haitian to the border of the Dominican Republic, and they were rescued by Mia Pean. It was in the New York Times. And somebody came in and said, did you know you make the New York Times? I said, no. They said, yes, you did. You fought with a man, right? When you were in Haiti. I said, yeah, he's just a jerk. And, I had the community behind me rallying, you're not going to touch our sister. So, yes, my 15-year-old came back. The 15-year-old me came back to fight and says no. Because I felt that there was something wrong.
You could tell.
Yeah, you can. And that's what I said. Human trafficking is in your neighborhood. It's all over the place. You have to have discernment. And when I call the higher power within me, I always ask for discernment. Allow me to discern the good and the bad. And when it doesn't feel right, allow me to stay in a neutral place where I can pick up myself. Yeah. So I did. I rescued them, but at the same time, they already crossed the border with at least 7 because they had fake birth certificate. They have a lot of fake documents where they provided to the Dominican government. It's in the news. If you pull it up, you'll see it.
Is this driven by human greed fundamentally?
Yes, it is. Money. Human trafficking make more money now than selling drugs, than selling arms, weapon. And I think that for me, by doing my homework in 2002, 2003, when I was traveling with Ambassador Young, and I understand the plight, and I said, I'm going to take this on. So this is where this journey has taken me. It's taken me to places, sometimes it's dark, where you have to rescue women and run, where you have to have the cops with you. And sometimes you have to I don't believe they did this to this person. Because like you said, it's greed. It's just pure greed that there's a way for me to make money and I'm going to make it off of someone that's in search for something. So the bottom line, they're always ready to look for those who doesn't have someone to speak on their behalf. Someone you're not going to miss. If I see this homeless guy in the street and I know you're not going to miss them, I can easily pick him up, take his organ, and traffic it to someone else, to the black market. There's a lot of homeless people in the street that you and I were not going to miss. But they are somebody's brother, somebody's sister. Or sometimes they had a good life and then life took a turn. So when life took a turn on you and you have no one missing you, this is when trafficker lure. Who's going to miss him? If I pick him up and he's asking me for food, and I said, I'll take you somewhere, I'll give you food, take a shower, give you a job. I give him the food. and then I sell them to someone that's going to exploit his organ or exploit them. That's what is trafficking. When you have no one who's going to miss you, no one to care for you, and you want to belong. Because this society tells us that you got to belong. And we're dying to belong. Some of us are dying to belong to be thin. I'm still trying. Some of us are trying to belong because we need more and more. It's the more and more that traffickers are looking for. So they exploit that. They manipulate you into thinking that I'll give you that more and more. That love that you desperately needed, I'll give it to you. That sense of family that you want to have, you want to belong, I'll give it to you. That sense of having a partner or somebody to love you, and you'll do anything for them.
Yeah.
That's what they're looking for. So when they find it, they exploit it. According to United Nations, something that came out last week, it's taking a life of its own. It's like a beast.
So it sounds like then the answer is this radical love that you are, and that it's what's so powerful about you, this medicine and energy that you carry, because you've found the enough inside of yourself. And it also sounds like from the way that you're speaking that you recognize the God in everyone else.
Right. When you're able to give someone a hug that smell like, oh, and you said that's love. When you're able to love somebody beyond them not loving themselves, when you're able to pull everything out of you and give it to someone else, that's love. When I was growing up in Brooklyn, I never had that. I was one of the least of these. I always buy people affection by, when I have friends, always make sure that if we go to the Chinese restaurant and I buy their dinner. So that was my way to buy my friends' affections. Even though they were my friends, I didn't know if they were. Because the person that was supposed to protect me, she didn't do it. So that's what I'm telling you. You're still searching for that love. As a young woman, you're still searching for it. Got married very young. I was 18 years old. He was 18 years old. I got divorced. I was 27. So I broke the world record. Getting divorced like in a minute. And I was a single mom, trying to find my way and trying to pour myself into my kids. Because working with domestic violence, and I see that your boyfriend could easily abuse your children. So they were my life. I was like a hawk, taking care of them, making sure that sacred space, no one would interfere with my children's life. So they won't be traumatized or be like me or like where I'm all, you're all over the place. Because you see, when you're living in a madhouse, it's very rare for the madness not to get into you, into your soul. And my husband says, what do you believe in? Do you believe in God? I said, I'm a gypsy. I believe in weed. I believed it. I believed. I'm a gypsy. I think that I belong in the 50s and the 60s where people just like the sun and the daisy, sunflower. I have all of this. He said, you're just a hot mess. But I guess with everything that I went through, I became a butterfly where I don't let the small things bothers me. I read a book called The Small Stuff. This is a small stuff. Don't worry about the small stuff. And I told my husband, you need to read that book. And I did my eulogy. I said, when I died, I want to be cremated. And I want my ashes to be spread over the ocean. Like, the butterfly that I am. Because I know that I'm going to be transformed all over the place. Because the world is mine. No one can take it away from me because they took it away from me when I was 12 and 17. And you know how you try to crawl yourself back out from a place very dark. And then now that you have wings and you want to fly.
And I really believe when you touch as many people as you do, when you change, save lives like you do, that love, your love, you live on in the world and in such a real way.
Last year on my birthday, I didn't have any money. And I said, oh my God, I wanted to go to Cheesecake Factory because I love cheesecake. But 3 days prior, and I saw 2 messages on LinkedIn. I said, who's that? I don't know this person. So I opened it. Lo and behold, a young boy that I rescued. When I rescued him, he was 9 years old. And I placed him with a family. Yeah, the woman is a doctor. She's a dentist. And her husband is OBGYN. So he wrote me, completed high school, going into the Navy. He sent me $300. He said, if it wasn't for you, I wouldn't be where I am. I owe you my life. You're always going to be my mother. So my husband said, we need to put this on the Facebook. I said, I don't need to put it anywhere. It's already in my heart. He says, you know, you and your innocence, this is why everybody is going to be attracted to you, because you don't need the fanfare. And I truly don't. And a lot of people said, I love God, I love God. And I said, if God was here, he would be on the street corner rescuing. If God was here, he would be paying for somebody's food at the restaurant. Somebody that cannot afford to get dressed and go to the opera one day to be part of that social life that we call, and to have a nice place to sleep at a hotel like the Marriott Marquis. So for me, that's where I belong. I belong to where to be a voice for people that needs to have a voice. I used to cry a lot because when I see the misinjustice, and I said that the way to take care of this ill is for me to just put a little drop in the ocean, to be an ambassador for these women, for these young men, to be an ambassador for family that were brought here because they were told that they had a better life. There would be something better for migrants, for trafficking women, trafficking young men. They will have a better life. So for me, that's my fanfare. Yeah. Last week, somebody, we went to an agape. They were passing out food, and there was a man outside. He didn't look the part, and my husband said, where you going? I said, I'm going to ask him if he wants food. He said, babe, eat your food, because you're not going to go home and cook. I said, I don't care. There's cereal. So I went outside. I said, are you okay? He said, I'm hungry. We were by, that's my favorite place, Flying Biscuit. So I went to Flying Biscuit and ordered him something. I give him water, and then I said, I don't have a lot of money. I only have $2 and change. He said, my, bless you. I said, today's my birthday, so that's my gift. For my birthday, that's my gift to you. I said, on my birthday, I always wanted to give somebody a gift for having life. So that's my gift to you. He says, my. And he's an older man, and he didn't look the part. Everybody was dressed. He didn't want to go in and ask for food, probably because of pride. Probably he had better, and he doesn't have any more. He doesn't know how we would accept him. Yeah. So for me, I accept those who are not accepted. Yeah.
You're so beautiful. Thank you for being in the world.
Thank you. But you know something? Sometimes you have to go through things to understand what life is really about. Life is a gift. Life is precious. And every day you got to be grateful and thankful for playing a part in this movie called life. So I'm playing my part. Yeah. I know if my mom was alive, she would be proud of me. And this is one thing sometimes I get choked up about. I said, I never knew the love of a mother,
You are that love.
Yeah.
So radically. Where can people find you to support you?
Oh.
To join the mission?
My sister's place is a 501c3, so your donation would be tax deductible. We can be found on www.mysistersplacehaiti.org. And our phone number is 770-572-2350. And right now, we're desperately looking for donation so we can hire a grant writer. We're looking for a champion to help us with this movement. To whom much is given, much is required. And we want to have a good team so we can help create this synergy. We want to keep the movement going where we pass it to others. I don't want to be the one to keep the flame going, because sometimes you were just here to do something and you need to pass the baton to someone else. I hope that we can find women. It doesn't matter what color you are, who you are. You are welcome at the table, because the table is so big that everybody can have a piece of pie or be part of this puzzle that we're trying to put together, the mosaic. Yeah.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
Thank you so much.
You're welcome.
Thank you guys so much for hanging out with us this week. I'm so glad that I can share Mia's story with our community. And if you feel called to this work, if you'd like to become her champion, if you see your place in it, please reach out to her, reach out to me, and I can connect you, or just share her story. Just boost the signal of this kind of work. You can always find me on Instagram at Maura James, or my contact information is on my website, maurajames.com. If you would like to take on a homework assignment from this week's conversation, I'm challenging myself this week to look for the invisible people, to look for the people who are invisible to me because of my blind spots and because of where I am in my life experience. We all have them, and I think it's really important for people that are on the path of awakening and self-growth and universal love to train ourselves to be aware of where we still need to grow and make sure that we are stretching ourselves in our daily practices so that we don't become complacent. Who do you discount? Who do you not see? Who is it too scary to acknowledge in full humanity? And what do you have enough abundance for? What can you afford with your gifts, with your compassion, with your possessions, with your social capital? And in the places where you feel like you're living in scarcity, where you don't have enough to share, where you are afraid of becoming that vulnerable person, where can you stretch yourself into faith and trust and surrender? I think that if we must acknowledge that for whatever reason, there are broken, hurting forces of darkness in the universe that prey on people's vulnerabilities, we must acknowledge an equal and oppositional imperative to form a coalition of angels, of devotion, compassion, source, whatever your cosmology is for the language of radical love. How do we form that? How do we counteract the hunger of those dark forces with our own hunger for love? I think Mia is an incredibly empowering example in her walking embodiment of that. And we all have that potential. We all have that gift to offer the world. I truly believe that that is why we are here and why we walk our own paths of trauma and healing, because the gifts that come from that work become the gifts that we offer one another. Your life is a gift, not only to you, but to everyone that encounters you and encounters the wisdom of your lived experiences. Look for where you can share it. Go out into the world, shine your presence, just be with people. It's the best medicine that I've encountered in my life, and it saves me over and over again from the nonsense of my own bullshit. It's magical. Thank you for being here with me. Go shine, and we'll hang again soon.
When you I'm sure you won't be able to turn your head away. 'Cause what I'm gonna talk about, nobody wants to be without. I said it makes no difference who you are or what color you happen to be. As long as you're alive and breathing, this has got to be one of your neat people. I'm talking about freedom, 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 freedom. I'm talking about freedom, freedom for you and for me, and every living thing that breathes. When you see how free the birds fly in the sky, I'm sure you'll have to say, my, oh my. And all the waters in the river so deep, oh, how it flows so free. I said it makes no difference who you are or what color you happen to be. As long as you're alive and breathing, this has got to be one of your neat people. I'm talking about freedom.